Woo! Ooh, yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Oh. Uh-oh. Hello, pioneers! Today's episode, we have a problem. I have a lack of power generation. We have a max consumption of 2,000 megawatts and we're only producing 600. So I've got a few goals for today. Number one is being more power, and number two is automating more of the basic items. I'm tired of crafting stuff that could be made in an assembler. These goals aren't too hard, so just sit back and relax, and I hope you'll enjoy the video. First thing I wanted to work on was that new factory. It's going to have a bunch of the materials that I need anyways, so may as well get it done and then put it all into dimensional depots. The reason why I'm building the factory before the power plant is because the power plant itself is going to use a ton of rotors, motors, and all the sorts just to make it. And I don't want to sit there and craft for like the next 10 days, so let's make a factory and just automate it. I'm already starting to get a good shape with this factory. It's starting to match the first building that I made. I want it to be somewhat a little bit different. I don't want it to be the exact same, which is why it's more of a square than the original 8 shape that I made. I plan on making about 4 or 5 floors, so that way I have a bunch of room for all the machinery that I need. I've got to refine iron, copper, I need coal to make steel down here too. It's a lot. I don't know why, but the little stripe on all these buildings just makes them pop so much more. This orange is like, the fix-it orange is perfect. I had an idea. So with the structural solutions mod that I've downloaded, it gives you emissive beams, and one of them is 0.5 meters, and it is perfect for making very small signs. So I'm going to write the letters fix it, and I'm going to use this as a blueprint for any buildings that I make, so that way I can just plaster the fix it propaganda on every single wall. And there we go. That looks perfect. I love this. Just going to remove that, and now whenever I blueprint it, I don't have to remove anything. I can just paste it right onto a wall. I'm going to put this right on this blue stripe right here in the top left. Perfect. Okay, back to actually making the building. I need to add the little orange slip that I put at the top. So that way, you know, it's not just glass on top of the roof. I need to make sure I have a nice little wall at the top, so if anyone's up here, they don't fall off. You know, safety first. And this is going to wrap around the entire building, all around the roof. Alright, after a few minor details, like little orange walls here and there, and maybe a little beam going from the bottom to the top, I've finally finished the exterior of the building. Now I just gotta go ahead and fill this with a buttload of machines, and that's gonna take a while to do the logistics of, so let's get to it. This entire first floor is gonna be smelters. I'm gonna have the foundries to make steel down here, and then the smelters to make iron and copper. And I'm simply gonna send all the items up to an elevator through the floors. This floor is going to be so much more packed once I get all the mergers in. It's going to have a buttload of mergers and also a buttload of conveyor belts running across the roof. The second floor is going to be where most of my constructors are. I'm going to have basic item production down here, making iron plates and iron rods. There's actually so many constructors in here, I had to kind of separate them. Even though there's not a whole lot of space, I had to make sure I organize, otherwise I might mix up conveyor belts down the line. For the third floor, I'm going to have all my screw production up here, as well as the steel beams and pipes production right next to it. And now for the final floor. This floor is going to be entirely final production. This is where our motors, our rotors, and encased beams are going to be made. And any of the byproducts that it makes, like any frames, reinforced plates, any of that is going to be shoved off into a dimensional depot for storage. Now, I need to do one more thing before I can turn on this factory. I need to give it materials, and also, you know, hook up the conveyor belts, but I'll do a time lapse for that once I get to it. But right now, I have a little blueprint that I made that elevates conveyor belts off the ground. I think it just looks a little better than just, you know, a solid highway. This is for simple stuff, like if you have a few miners that you need to send to a building. And what I really like about these is how industrial they are. You don't have to put them in any fancy spot. There's no right angles, no nothing. You just put them where you need to and then just send the conveyor belt. I'm going to have all the materials enter through the windows in the back of the building. So that way, if you're walking past the front, you don't have to see a bunch of conveyor belts going in. Well, anyways, with all the basic stuff covered about this building, I'm going to do a quick time lapse of me doing all the conveyor belts, and then once we're done, we can power it on and see how it looks. Yeah, we ran into our first problem running this factory. We don't have enough power to keep it on. So what I had to do for now is back at the power plant, I put down like 10 batteries and I'm letting them charge every now and then, so that way I could turn on the power grid sometimes. That way I can produce items, let it recharge, and then repeat that a few times until I have the materials to build. But the factory is 100% ready to run, so I guess let's go ahead and start working on the new power plant. I'm going to use gas generators, and I'm going to try to put down at least 20 or more. That'll give us a huge amount of headroom that we won't be using for quite a while, not unless I have like a really big build for the next episode. Oh, and by the way, I went ahead and bought a few more things from the Awesome Shop, just a few paintables, the rest of the signs, and a street light. Just a few more decorations I could use for building. Alright, now to build the new building. I want to put the power plant over here in this little divot where my first factory used to be. Now, I need to figure out something. I don't like stacking power generators on top of each other to save space. I really like the look of spreading them out over a large area. So I need to know how much area that is going to take. So this is going to be a really big platform. Look, you can see just how big these gas power generators are. And it's like a 3x3 almost. So it's going to take up a huge amount of foundation just to put down 20 of them. And here's how big it's going to be. Now, I do add another row in the back because I want to do more power generators. But this is the width it's going to be. It's going to stay like this, and man, it's a lot of space. But in total, we finish at 24 power generators. I just quickly threw a fence around it. What do y'all think about this? I like to add fencing around my buildings. It makes it feel like it's actually dangerous to be around. Now that we got the generators, the stuff that burns the fuel, we need to put down the stuff that makes the fuel. So I need to put about 12 refineries down in a row, and that should be able to feed this entire factory. I think for this power plant, I'm going to do a more square building, because I want it to feel more industrialized rather than modern. I'm not sure, I just want it to feel rougher. The design looks a little mid right now, but I think it'll look better once I start adding the random orange lines across the entire wall. It'll get there eventually. Let's just keep on experimenting. And of course, this building wouldn't be complete without its own little fix-it stamp of approval. So I'm going to put this right here in the bottom right corner on all sides. And that's how one face is going to look. The rest is just going to be randomized orange lines in different directions, and then the little fix-it logo in the bottom right. I'm looking at the back of the building here. I put down a little platform, and I think I can totally put down the train station in the back here, and then have like a little liquid storage area where it goes into like a row of 4 liquid buffers, liquid storage, and that's where it'll keep the oil in between train runs. Put them down just like this so that whenever the train delivers oil, it'll have a little buffer, so that way there's not a moment of blackout where the power generators don't have any oil to produce fuel. By the way, I'm picking the fluid freight platforms over the regular, just item storage, because I want to actually see fluid trains. I feel like people abuse the fact that you can put packages and store more liquid per package inside of a regular freight train, but I just think aesthetically the liquid trains look so much better. I think I've got this platform pretty well fit so far. For the train station, I don't really have any good train blueprints right now. I need to make a new one. But just to get this thing started, I'll probably just run the track on the ground, so that way I can, get oil over here and make power. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that, and I'll talk to y'all right after I'm done. Okay, I set up a really basic oil train station over here. It's also got water mixed in, so that way whenever I go back, there's a recipe I can make to make rubber and plastic using the byproduct that is made by the fuel. So this is great. I have plastic, oil, and fuel being made all in this one little power plant. So the way the plastic and the rubber is being made is that whenever you do the fuel recipe, it has a byproduct of polymer resin. And you can use this resin mixed with water to produce the two recipes, rubber and plastic. So I get to throw those in a dimensional depot, and it'll produce way more plastic and rubber than I used to. Which, by the way, I'm not using all of the polymer resin that these refineries are making. All of the extra is being synced right there on the right. So I'm not too worried about maximizing my plastic and rubber. I just want to make sure I have some being made. And here comes the final step of this, just supplying it with oil. So charging up those batteries for a while, I was able to turn on the power just for a little while. And if I can get the oil here to be produced into fuel, then I can try to kickstart this little power plant and see if we can make some power. We've got some of the refineries turning on. I don't see any of the generators working yet though. It might just still be filling up with fuel. Oh shoot, I think I hear them turning on. Yes! The power plant is working. Oh man, this is great. This is like the first full-scale gas-powered plant that I've made. In the previous series, I just kind of skipped over this and went straight to nuclear. And to be honest, this is 10 times easier to set up. I don't know why I didn't do this at all. Alright, and after a couple of hours, I've got every single gas generator running. Overall, this factory makes us about 6,000 megawatts, give or take, which our max consumption right now is only 2,500, so we have a lot of headroom to work with for any new buildings we need to make. And once again, I always enjoy making these videos. I'm sorry how short they are. I'm really tired after work. But if y'all want to show any support, I've got a Patreon. Just a little down there. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. If y'all have any suggestions in the comments, leave them in the comments. See y'all in the next episode.